So the next question says, which of the following best describes monetary policy? Sorry, describes a monetary policy tool. And so the options are tax rate, B, government spending, C, reserve requirements, or D, all of the above. And so tax rate and government spending are going to be two ways that the government can influence the growth of the economy for sure, but they do not fall under monetary policy because remember, we think of monetary policy as uh, tools used by the Fed to control the money supply in order to influence economic growth. What tax rate and government spending fall under is fiscal monetary policy. And so not fiscal monetary policy, fiscal policy. So these are both fiscal policy tools, and the primary way that the government, in terms of Congress, would go about, or like the executive branch would go about trying to influence the economy, but not the Fed. So it's not going to be 1, 2, or 4 because all of the above is eliminated by eliminating 1 and 2. And so the third is reserve requirement, and that is going to be a monetary policy tool. And we can think about the reserve requirement as the tool that is, again, going hand in hand with the multiplier effect. And it's basically saying how much does the Fed require banks to keep in reserves for is a percentage of deposits. And so we know that if banks, the more money that banks loan out, then the higher the multiplier is, right? And so, the multiplier is given by 1 divided by the reserve requirement. So the more multiplier there is, the larger the money supply. And so if we increase the reserve requirement, what we're really doing is decreasing the multiplier, decreasing the amount of loans circulating in the economy, and therefore decreasing the money supply. And so that is one way in which the Fed is going to go about, decreasing the money supply available in the economy, or vice versa by decreasing the reserve requirement and increasing the money supply. So we know that 3 is going to be the right answer here. Let's take a look at the previous tutor's answers. They say number 3, reserve requirement, which is good. And they said the monetary policy of the economy is controlled and implemented by its central bank, which involves interest rates and credit management to influence the economic activity, maximize employment, and stabilize the financial system. The 3 monetary policy instruments are open market operations, changing the discount rate, and changing reserve requirements. Changing the reserve requirement influences the amount of money that banks can lend, which leads to changes in the money supply. Making changes to a tax rate and government spending are instruments of fiscal policy. Yeah, I think that covers all the bases, why the other answers are incorrect, and what specifically reserve requirement does. And so we'll add in that link between reserve requirement and money supply. Just to be super thorough, specifically, the reserve requirement is used to calculate the money multiplier given by 1 divided by R. As a result, increasing the reserve requirement decreases the multiplier, which decreases the money circulating in the economy. On the other hand, decreasing the money multiplier, decreasing the reserve requirement increases the money multiplier, which increases the money circulating in the economy. Yep, so that last link is going to be just an extra bit of detail, and otherwise we should be fine.